Well, that was ugly. I don't know if there's any other way to describe it. Anything but what we expected for the first game of the year. As the Boston Bruins fall 6-4 to the Florida Panthers in a game that the Florida Panthers raised their Stanley Cup championship banner. The previous night, they received their Stanley Cup champions rings, and there was no Stanley Cup hangover, folks. They came out, dominated the Boston Bruins, in particular in the first period, where they took complete control of the game and skated to a 6-4 victory. Do not let the score deceive you. It was nowhere near that close. Welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, and our in-show lead sponsor, Fazenda Coffee. We're coming to you from the Fazenda Coffee Roasters Cafe Studios. How's that for sounding fancy, Razor? Might need to get you some caffeine on this one, brother. I'm sorry, man. This was a tough one tonight. You and I weren't working together. We're working late night on this one, and we're getting a little bit of a late start, so maybe we can get you some bold brew to get you going. Fazenda Coffee is Boston's specialty coffee roaster. Go to fazendacoffee.com/morning brew. Fazenda Coffee Roasters, they partner with cafes, bakeries, and restaurants to provide top quality coffee through their wholesale program, but they don't stop there. Enjoy their expertly roasted coffee at home too. Shop direct, fazendacoffee.com. Get 15% off your order plus free shipping on orders over $35. When you're running a business or just brewing a great cup of coffee at home, Fazenda has you covered. Okay, Razor, I don't know any other word to describe it except ugly, or freaking ugly, if that's two words to describe that game where the Bruins were dominated.
Yeah, it was bad. And I think you could just take what Jim Montgomery said after the game on all the and just run it, and that would be the podcast. They look slow, they played slow.
Are they slow? Let me ask you that. Are they slow? And okay.
Well, I don't know. Like that, right? Like that's who I don't think they are. I mean, Charlie McAvoy and Lindholm, but they played slow tonight. They did. So I suppose today they are slow. I don't, but
yeah. Listen, the sky isn't falling just yet. This is one of 82, but it does deserve, I think, honest, critique of that was just unexpected. It's not that they lost; it's how they lost. At least in my eyes, Razor. It's how they lost, and they're not going to overreact. They don't need to, but I definitely know they need to look at themselves in the mirror and figure this one out.
Yeah, that'll be annoying. I mean, that's not an enjoyable flight home. The first game, again, it's always the first game. If this happened, I get the ultimate cliche. If this happened on a Tuesday night in December, no one, we probably don't even do a podcast about it, and we move on. So it's the first night, and again, they played bad. They played really poorly, kind of all around. So maybe that makes it better, I guess, that everyone wasn't that good. And you can, as a coach, really drive home that training camp's over and it's time to get going.
Let's talk about the goaltending, because a lot of people were commenting on it. How Joonas Korpisalo and the team gave up 4 goals in the first period. Am I accurate or wrong on saying, I mean, after the game, Jim Montgomery said it wasn't Korpisalo's fault. I will say I thought 3 of the 4 goals in the first period were almost like, what could he have done there? Like nothing that he could have done. This was about the bodies in front of him, the defense not boxing out, the defense actually, before boxing out, not making, getting the pucks quickly, making good decisions, the forwards not getting the puck out, and then the D again not boxing out. Maybe the Reinhart goal, the shorty, you can tell me about it, but maybe that one you say, come on, that's where you needed a save right there. But otherwise, I thought 3 of the 4 were anything but his fault. Accurate or not accurate?
Yeah, that's the way I saw it too. Especially frustrated because the Bruins almost scored on that power, literally the face-off before. So that one was like, all right, they're probably not winning tonight, but they probably weren't winning anyways, the way they were playing and continue to play. So certainly not on the goaltender, but like Korpisalo said, you can't give up 4 goals in the NHL in one period. So no matter how many shots everyone said the right thing after the game. Everyone said the true thing. Everyone said the honest things afterwards. And again, as a goaltender, you don't want to have your first start on opening night on a new team give up 4 in the first. That's not ideal. He battled. He grinded through that one. So
Yeah.
that one could have got away from everyone if he struggled in the second 2 periods, but he held it together. And again, it wasn't an ideal situation. Swayman back, lots of distraction around that as well, and then you don't get a good effort in front of you to really kind of pick you up.
At one point in the first period, they were
14-1, was it?
14-1. Yeah.
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 I
And
like that. So again, it's again, the goalies, you're going to feel shitty because you gave up 4 in the first, but it was 14-1. I mean, not good enough.
What could he have done just to use that Reinhart goal as an example? Was he off his angle? Could he have come out a little bit more? Is this where the drift would help if he's out a little, just, I guess, give me your expert goalie analysis on that play. And by the way, I still thought it was a pretty freaking great play by Reinhart, and he beat McAvoy. That was the thing. He also beat Charlie McAvoy there.
Yeah, he got caught by surprise, I think. I think he didn't react to the shot. He just dropped when, at the last second. And again, it was a great goal, great play, great shot. I don't think he expected Reinhart to get as much as he did on it. And that's, again, as a goaltender, you have to expect the best. I don't know if he quite did. I think he got a little surprised by how quickly Reinhart got the shot off, and it surprised him. So I think more than anything on that one, it was just a little sleepy or a little not reactive enough.
You mentioned, Korpisalo not getting the kind of obviously result that he wanted in his first start as a Boston Bruin. Can you think of your first start with any team that you were with that really wasn't the kind of start or the kind of game that you wanted? Does anyone jump to mind, or do you need to think about it?
There was no disasters, like ultimate disasters. I lost in overtime on. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think in Vancouver, something like I don't remember if I just went into a period or not. Nothing disastrous happened. No, nothing, no opening night 6 bangers. No.
Does this do anything to him mentally, you think, or do you, because of his veteran status, you think that he'll be okay moving on from it?
Yeah, completely fine moving on from it. He's not going to play now for at least a week. He'll probably play on the road trip in Utah or something like that, one of those games. But he's not playing the next 3 at home, so he'll have some time to work on it and continue to work his game. So it shouldn't. No, if it was his first NHL start, you'd be like, or if it was a Brandon Bussey situation where you're like, oh, okay, so now we really have to get our antennas up. With him, you expect a good effort next time.
I like to say this sometimes, just as a preface, and I mean it. Tell me if this is an unfair question, and maybe it is because I'm asking you to get into somebody else's head, tell me how they're thinking, and that's probably not fair. But I'm going to ask you: do you think he could be thinking this? Swayman gets signed. He's not. He's expecting maybe he's going to run with it. I mean, he doesn't know what's going to happen with Jeremy Swayman, Jonas Korpisalo, but he's preparing to be the lead guy, I'm guessing. Right? Or is he just going day by day at that point? But then Swayman signs, and does he now feel the pressure, do you think, oh, I better perform well in this game one no matter what, because then otherwise I may not play for a while? Or is this not even a relevant question to ask?
No, I think it would have been the other way a little bit more. Like if imagine the Fire, like imagine what we'd be doing right now if Swayman wasn't signed. And I think that can tell you what the pressure kind of is. So no, usually you're not really thinking about someone else's contract as an NHL player. And 2, in this situation, if any, compared to what's been going on and the questions and everything going on around the goaltending, this was actually the least amount of pressure, kind of just because it's done and over with and Swayman's on the bench.
Okay. All right. Bruins are down 4-1 after the first. And again, it was 2-1 at one point. It was a great shot from Pavel Zacha after the Bruins finally get a break. Puck caroms off of kind of a funky bounce off of Sasha Barkov inside the Florida Panthers defensive blue line. And Elias Lindholm, the new Lindholm, picks it up, dishes it over, distributed to the left wing side where Zacha had come in with some nice speed. It was a nice pass in that Zacha didn't have to dust it off or anything, stick handle it. He just got it and ripped it. Beats the goaltender Bobrovsky high, past the ear, so to speak, and made it 2-1. And then it was a shorthanded goal. And you're thinking, okay, great, 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 right? And then they go on the power play, and that's when the Reinhart goal was scored. To me, that was the watershed moment of the game. Just, that to me, that shorty Razor by Reinhart just said, guys, you're not this is our game. I know it was just the first period and it was just 3-1, but watching the game, working the game, you just felt like, oh shit, like, come on, that can't happen right there. I thought that was the statement of the game. What about you?
Yeah, and then of course the next one comes right after it too. So certainly the turning point was the shorthanded. At 2-1, you're like, maybe they'll get back into it and it'll be a game. But once 3-4-1, you're chasing against a pretty good team on home ice.
Yeah. Is Sam Bennett public enemy number one now of the Boston Bruins? Do you think? Is he taking that role, or is he not quite there yet?
I guess so. I'm trying to think of someone in Toronto. I always feel like a Toronto or Montreal guy is gonna still be more of taking the cake than, I think of a Max Domi even at this point. He's not Nazem Kadri, like he's not,
right.
It's still Florida, even though I know that rivalry's been there the last couple of years. I think individually you need more media people watching.
Well, Sam Bennett had 2 goals in this game. Arguably the number one star of the game for everybody watching. One of them for sure for the Florida Panthers. He made his presence felt. He was involved. He was around the front of the net. He ran over, got on top of Korpisalo late in the game, correctly got called for a penalty. And I do think, and Brick and I talked about this post game, we both thought that the refs handled that appropriately right there. But the goal did count, the Evan Rodriguez goal, for that matter. I guess you could maybe make the argument too that Matthew Tkachuk could be the enemy as well. And, Frederick, who we did, an interview with recently on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, kind of, talked about, I said at the end, kind of kiddingly, you'll see your buddy, Matthew Tkachuk, and at the end of the interview, and he goes, I'm not buddies with that guy. Yeah. I actually think they grew up as childhood buddies, but right now I don't think that they are. So this is no question, though, Razor. No question the major rival right now is, along with Toronto, for the Boston Bruins, given this the playoff history the last 2 years, where Florida's had the Bruins number, quite honestly.
Oh, yeah, they knocked them out. Yeah, absolutely. Again, Florida does a great job. They're,
there's not a better forecheck team in the league.
They're the Stanley Cup champs. They're good. Yeah. They're the Stanley Cup champs.
Yeah.
They went through everybody last year, and then they almost did it the year before. So no, they're great. They're really good. They play really disciplined within their system.
And yeah, they do. They know what they're doing. They do. I think the word purpose comes to mind, Razor, when I'm watching them. They do things with ultimate purpose. There's very little hope play in their game. It's a direct line game. They're forecheck. Everybody gets it. It's not just number one who makes the pressure. It's number two. I think the second guy is, in fact, perhaps even more instrumental in creating havoc because he shuts down so much with that second read, and then they just get after it. And again, I don't know if there's a team that changes sides better or uses the wall better. They do a lot of rim arounds in the offensive zone. We saw that on the first Bennett goal where what's his name? Rodriguez shot the puck from the point. He was kind of filling in there and he just zipped it. But that was after the puck had rimmed around over there. And so I just think that this team, they know what they are and they don't pretend to be something that they aren't. And I know that might sound cliche, but holy shit, they do it really well. They play simple hockey really well. And why do you think the Bruins, especially their defensemen, weren't able to handle it, Razor?
Well, it's because they do it really well. They're quick and they get pucks to the net, and it's hard to go, like you said, go east-west and then get back to the front of the net on time. And especially when the forwards are programmed to do so as well. They're half a step in front of the Bruins, and that allows them to get positioning and and get a stick on a wrister or just cause bodily havoc. So again, that's what they do. They do that really well. And the Bruins got bigger and they got stronger for the playoffs to play that way. And obviously that it's not the playoffs right now, so it's okay. There's a long time to go. And but again, this Florida Panther team went through 4 really good hockey teams to win the Stanley Cup just 100 days ago.
What did you think of a couple of players, new guys in particular, whether it's Elias Lindholm, Nikita Zadorov? Max Jones took some penalties I did not like. Were ill-advised. It's the old maybe trying to do too much. Kind of felt that he was kind of all over in the game. What did you think of the Zadorovs and the Elias Lindholm?
I mean, it's good. Lindholm gets the assist. It's hard to take a lot, right? Like even the penalties, like it's 4-1, so you might as well start trying to take penalties. And it's not shocking that the Bruins chased the Panthers around a little bit just after, like you talked about, the playoffs last year and the new guys, the Frederick, the Jones, the Castellics. That's kind of what they're there, and especially in a 4-1 game. I think it's I thought Zadorov was fine. He played his 18 minutes. He's big. He's long. Again, a random cross-checking penalty. But so again, there wasn't. No one really played well. So it's hard to really highlight any of the new guys in a good or bad way. Everyone was kind of the same.
Yeah. Let's talk about and again, it's one game, so it's the old pump the brakes and all that stuff. But does this the way that they played, and you could tell that Montgomery wasn't happy afterwards at all.
Mm-hmm.
Does this push the necessity to sign a guy like Tyler Johnson quicker, sooner than later? Or do you think it's still just going to have to be just a salary cap thing, and eventually when it works out, it works out?
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, Tyler Johnson isn't going to be he's not going to make David Pastrnak play better. So no, I think that takes care of itself. But if you're, so no, listen, they're going to regroup. They got a home opener in 2 days against Montreal. They'll watch Montreal play tomorrow night. Let's wait for the Tyler Johnson savior for another week or two if they go 0-5.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see though if there's any changes to the lineup. I understand there's probably minimal things they can do right now, but they have 1 or 2 extra players there. I'd be curious. I mean, listen, Mason Lowry was a -4 in the game at one point. What did he end up a -3?
Yeah, he caught the last one. No, that pairing was very, very poor.
Yeah. And even, at times on Andrew Peak, he got pushed back a couple of times. He didn't look like what we had been seeing. I don't know. You have Parker Wotherspoon there. I wonder if they see a change. And I don't see that as a panic move by any stretch. I see it as an option.
But don't forget, it's a home opener, right? So you're going to go, like, guys don't want to be sat out of a home opener. If you're the guy on the roster, if you're what's supposed to be the top 6, you put the top 6 in a home opener. Or like that's kind of important. Yeah, no, like you get called out. Everyone skates out into, gets their name announced. Like that would be bold. If he goes all the way and like starts pulling what you think regular guys are out for game 2 home opener after just 1 game, I'd be surprised.
All right. So we'll take a look at that. We'll see that Bruins do not practice on Wednesday. They're flying home late tonight, and they do not practice on Wednesday. Wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Jeremy Swayman found himself with maybe some scratches on the ice midday if they can, and take some shots as we expect him to be in the net come Thursday night. We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's first take a moment to recognize the 2 sponsors that are helping make this show possible. Graciano Construction. Graciano Construction is in the Boston area, greater Boston, Metro West, but heck, they'll do stuff in the area, just give them an opportunity and give them a call or go check them out. Give them an email. Go to GracianoConstruction.com or call 508-330-7589. They will help you refresh and revitalize your space, whether it's big or small. They will make the difference in the world for you. They will treat you with such respect too. Doug Graciano and his crews are so polite. They are so on top of things. And they've got great eyes too. You know, if they'll make suggestions here or there for different things that you can do. So go check out Graciano Construction, GracianoConstruction.com. And no job too big, too small. Great general contractor in the greater Boston and Massachusetts area. And trust me, if you just if you want to get some ideas and you want to get an estimate, check out GracianoConstruction.com. Razor, this next sponsor is somebody that is extremely cool to us because just like the people at Bay Dog, we love our dogs. Whether it's Mila, the wonderful retriever, the legit retriever, all right? She is a real retriever, or Cooper, the fake retriever, as we like to call him, or the lazy one. Bay Dog is canine adventure gear that is a 100% veteran-owned business that they make these awesome products. Both you and I have got some products from there. And as I said, 100% veteran-owned business. The products that they are specialized at making, they have a college collection, harnesses and fleeces of 33 schools. They've got embroidered collars. They've got the best dog life jackets on planet Earth. So if your dog is swimming a lot, go check out baydog.com. And if you use the code MBREW, you'll get 15% off your entire order. We'll tell the story another time how this came about. Both you and I love this company. We really appreciate them jumping on here with Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Baydog.com. If you got a dog or you know somebody else who's got a dog, Razor, you've gotten the products already, right? Go check them out, guys. They're awesome. Baydog.com. Use the code MBREW for 15% off. Welcome to Baydog and joining us here on Morning Brew. How much you spoil Mila? You spoil her? I spoil Cooper. I do. I fully admit that. Are you a spoiler or are you the tough one with her?
No, I'm in between. It depends on the day. Depends how much my 3 kids are driving me crazy. But I mean, Mila and I get lots of QT during the day if I'm around. So, but I'm not a full, like, she doesn't. I don't let her, like, I don't want to do the couch and the bed and the we don't. I don't.
Oh, really?
That. Yeah.
Oh, see, Cooper again, lazy spoiled dog. He has his one little area on one couch that he goes to. He also has his own chair, and we open the window for him so he can put his head on the windowsill.
No, that's not that spoiling, yeah.
Oh no, and he'll sit there and watch the kids, the high school kids, walk up and down the street all day long. He loves that. He also is the kind of dog, Razor, that can stay in bed until 11 or 12 o'clock in the morning, not have to go to the bathroom. I don't know how he does it. But now he gets spoiled. He ends up jumping onto our bed at some point and everything. So anyways, listen, we all love our dogs. We spoil them. But the great products of Bay Dog are perfect. So go check them out. They've got some very cool products. All right. Speaking of cool, Jeremy Swayman is cool, right? This is what he's about now. He's going to get this opportunity. If there was any question or before, now there's none. I mean, I think he was going to play no matter what in the home opener on Thursday against Montreal. Now you'd fully expect it. Again, with the emphasis though, Razor, this wasn't, in my eyes, your eyes, the issue of Joonas Korpisalo in game 1.
No. That was already happening, predetermined. Got his deal. Franchise goalie, you play again, back to that home opener stuff. Like, you play that first game, even rusty. Mm-hmm. You figure out, you burn the rust off as you're playing that game. So, it wasn't going to matter if Korpisalo won 1-0. Swayman was playing Thursday night, so it doesn't really have anything to do with that. Bruins have to go out and beat Montreal in a home opener, which is always more special because of those two teams. And again, they get Montreal on a back-to-back as well, so they got to take advantage of that.
could this have been this performance an extension of their preseason performances, the last couple of games where they didn't generate squat offensively?
Yeah, and I heard I was on the radio. I was coming back from practice, so I heard and saw the start of heard the start of the game on the radio, and Beersy was talking about in the interview with Monty about the camp just being a little more discombobulated, not getting as much in, having a lot of games, just not getting as much, and it looked like that playing the game last night tonight, sorry, that they just didn't get enough out of camp. They didn't get quite as prepared as what Florida obviously did.
Yeah. It was striking at times. I felt it was. I mean, they absolutely were hemmed in their own zone. They looked at times unsure. They looked hesitant, and you can't be that way against the Florida Panthers. The good news, or potentially bad news, is that they also get the Florida Panthers in a couple of days again. It'll be the fourth game of the season, Razor, for the Boston Bruins, as they do host the Florida Panthers on Monday, Columbus Day, another matinee. So they go home against Montreal on Thursday, a matinee against LA on Saturday, and then the Monday matinee against these same Florida Panthers. Hopefully they can use, first of all, hopefully they can get themselves straightened out between now and then. Second of all, they can come out a little bit sharper. They can not only sharper, they can come out with a mentality of picking up the pace and taking it to Florida. I think they showed at times during the playoffs, at times, that they can do some good stuff with Florida against Florida. In the end, as you said, Florida beat them, and Florida, deserved it. They won the game 6. The game 6 was at home, the Boston Bruins home. But let's see if the Boston Bruins have learned something from this one. Let's see if they can, it's not a long-term having to wait for the Florida Panthers. They get another crack at them. And maybe it's over analysis, but I think it's important that they can see him again very soon.
Yeah, and then they don't see him. Then there's out of the last 78 games, they get him once. So yeah, I guess they're definitely going to have that circled on Monday now. But more importantly is getting that first win of the season Thursday.
All right, nobody played well in this game. If anybody did, can you help me out? Beecher wasn't bad. He wasn't bad.
I thought McAvoy wasn't bad at most of he was able to let the turn it loose down, at 5-1, just kind of going forward a lot. We want him to score more goals this year. Want Frederick to score. That was the good news, I guess. 4 guys scored, and it wasn't 0 guys. So that's a positive too.
Yeah. Okay. But besides that, nothing.
No.
Nothing.
No.
All right.
Nothing.
Boston Bruins lose 6-4 to the Panthers. Season opener, 24-25 season. You see the hats that Razor and I are wearing if you're watching us on YouTube. Again, they're not available just yet, but they will be available through Fazenda Coffee. We'll give you all the information. They will be our main point of distribution for these beautiful hats, the Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor hats. The other thing, Razor, and I think we should tell the fans this is going to happen a bit coming up. Just want to say this, and we'll remind them other times too. We're part of the Nesson Podcast Network. And by being part of the Nesson Podcast Network, which is expanding somewhat rapidly, we aren't the only podcast now that's going to be talking Boston Bruins and the NHL. We're going to be different in that we do our thing. Okay. The other shows will do theirs. So every once in a while, folks, and I don't have a number of how often it will happen, but it will happen. On the Morning Brew feed, you will sometimes get a snippet or a segment from another Nesson podcast if they're talking Boston Bruins. And it might come out or will come out on the Morning Brew feed. You will get notified of that. There will be a discussion about that, or not a disclaimer, we call it a boilerplate read before that. It will come on and you will hear that. So you will know that it's not Razor and me, but it's the other ones. But they're talking hockey. They're talking the Boston Bruins. And they're Nesson people. And so just be aware it's all happening, all good, and it's more hockey. So if we get more hockey talk out there, Razor, it's great. And that's just going to be happening as, again, the great news is the Nesson Podcast Network is expanding.
Yeah, and it'll be there, but we'll be there too.
We'll be there as well. And we'll be having our feed go on other places as well, as we want to get more and more hockey talk out there. All right. That's going to wrap this up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor up. Bruins lose. Wasn't pretty. Wasn't good at all. In fact, it was flat out bad at times. Shit happens. It's game 1 of 82. Let's hope it doesn't happen often. Last year they got beat a couple of good, a couple of times by pretty good. The one game against the Rangers jumps out, the 7-4 loss. It's going to happen throughout a season. However, let's see if they can rectify this quickly and turn around and take it to the Montreal Canadiens. Razor, you and I will both be there. We will also do a morning brew after that Thursday game. So everybody, I think, especially after this disappointing effort from your Boston Bruins, you deserve an extra cup of coffee to get over this one. We'll talk to you after Thursday's game.